Morning all. What a terribly lit and pixelated video you've got in store today. Yeah, I've not done a vlog for a while. I've been a little bit more active on YouTube. I've got about 2 weeks worth of videos already uploaded, so that takes off the pressure. Although I now have the ability, because I've abandoned the numerical system on the channel, to, if I'm in the mood, to just do a live review or just upload videos whenever the fuck I want, which I could have done anyway, but yeah, it's been a weird few weeks. Well, it's been that for a lot of people. Hardly a unique story, is it really? But yeah, I would say mentally this is probably the lowest I've been for about 3 years, when I had to come back from Germany, and I hate trudging up the past like that. But I've always said that if you've ever got anything on your mind, then you should feel able to get it out there, really. And like most people, just by human nature, being quite hypocritical with that. And it's affecting certain relationships in my personal life because of that sort of behaviour. And at a time like this, that is the last. You shouldn't be like that, but it's easier said than done. Millions of people are just at their wits' end right now. But yet, people are still pulling apart as opposed to coming together. And I think with what's going on in the developments, I think we're at a point now where we have to, as best as we can, set differences aside and just come together. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I've always been really bad at talking about stuff like this. But I am a firm believer of, if you've got a platform, no matter how big, no matter how many people you have watched on a regular basis, you should use that platform. If you want to, of course. And I don't know, I've always said that I think YouTube can be quite therapeutic for a lot of people. And for me in particular. And with these sorts of like videos and vlogs, when I'm talking about these sort of things, not only is it helping me, but the potential idea that someone could be watching this who is like me and struggles to actually speak to the people that they care about what they're thinking of and what they're going through. If I can provide comfort to at least one person, then that to me is job done. And if you're feeling alone, you feel like you've got no one to turn to, you feel like you're being a burden on other people, there are organisations and companies out there. You don't necessarily have to go down the medical sort of route and then be, prescribed pills which have side effects of suicidal tendencies and that sort of stuff. Although a lot of pills can help people, not one person is the same. So there are organisations out there who can help and give you advice, because what's the alternative, really? And you might not realise it, but if you were to take your own life, you are going to leave people behind. Now, I'm extremely lucky in that regard because I've not lost anyone to suicide. I've had friends who have had, other friends and family members lose someone because they've taken their own life. But I've been very lucky that I've never lost anyone. I've never got to that point where that would be the only option. But there are just so many people out there who are struggling, and it's awful. And there's still stigma out there when it comes to these sorts of topics. And that stigma needs to be just completely obliterated. A lot of the time, it's the stigma of the individual who's going stuff. They think that... Do you know what I mean? I'm not a psychologist. I'm just an opinionated arsehole who's making a YouTube video in the gloomiest looking setting. It's actually got quite a nice bit of zen in the living room. I mean, I've been up since about fucking 6 o'clock, something like that. So, still in that sort of like drowsy, woozy sort of state. But it is what it is at the end of the day. So it's just a little bit of a message to let people know that there are people out there. There are organisations, charities. There are complete strangers out there. And even though I'm terrible at responding to comments on YouTube, and I can be a bit terrible responding to messages from like friends and family, but if any of you guys who watch me on a regular basis, or if you're just a complete stranger, you can reach out to me, because you don't have to go through whatever you're going through alone. Collectively, we are going through quite possibly the darkest period of humanity for a long time. So, for the most part, we are in the same boat. And I can sometimes take a little bit of comfort in that, which I know is selfish, but sometimes when it comes to your own mental health, you have to be a little bit selfish. You have to look after yourself before you can look after someone else. And that's a lesson that I'm still learning. I wish I could take my own advice. Do you know what I mean? Because there are people who I absolutely love, adore and cherish. And because of the way I'm sort of acting recently, I feel like I'm sort of like, pushing them away. But yeah, it's a bit of a long-winded way for me to say, if any of you guys out there need someone to talk to, confide in, to vent, whatever, then my shoulder's there. I might not be able to give you the answers or the best advice, but if you just need someone to listen to you, then you can get in touch. And another thing, I did a couple of live streams yesterday, and on the last one, fundamentally, I'm one of those people who believes in sort of like free speech, and like when you see these comedians who make jokes and stuff, or like they have a tweet and then they publicly apologise. I'm fundamentally in the camp of, if it's a joke, you shouldn't really have to apologise. But there were a few comments that I said in that last stream last night which fundamentally don't represent me or my beliefs as an individual. I'm not going to allude to what those comments were, but I know I can sometimes be very politically incorrect with my humour in videos, and especially when doing live streams with the other guys and that sort of stuff, because we sort of like bump off each other. But I've decided to delete that live stream. I didn't. If I'd have just kept quiet, most people would be none the wiser. But yeah, there were some comments in that live stream which do not represent me as a person, and I don't want people to think that I am that sort of person. Because fundamentally, I'm a piece of shit. I know I'm a piece of shit. I'm human garbage. But I'm not that form of human garbage. So there's that. And we're going to end on some COVID talk. Throughout this whole situation, my opinion has changed so many times. A lot of my opinions were born out of frustration and anger, and I look back and I'm thinking, why did you think that about the situation? And I know I've said it quite a few times here on YouTube and on social media, which, by the way, I've sort of deactivated my Facebook for a few days just because some of the absolute trash that I was reading and then some of the trash that I was spouting, I was just like, I need to take a step back. But yeah, I've gone on record multiple times saying, oh, I'd never take that vaccine because it's been rushed through and it's not been tested enough and blah, 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 blah. But I think my opinion has very much changed. If I was offered that vaccine tomorrow, I would take it. Because I feel that that is really the only way that we're going to get through this. Now, do I think governments and private companies will exploit that? I think so. I think there's a very good chance of that. I saw an advert for Ryanair with Jab and Go, and I'm like, how fucking distasteful and scummy is that? Jab and Go. which I don't think it'll get to that point where you have to be vaccinated to travel. At most, I think you'll have to have a positive or a negative test. Yeah, negative test to be able to have access into, specific countries. Of course, countries will all have their own rules and that sort of stuff. But I don't know. I don't think there's a grand scheme. I don't think there's like fundamental evil forces at play. I think governments will exploit the situation, and they've used this as an excuse to put through powers and put through laws and things like that, and to exert their power in specific ways. And I'm going to sound like such a shill now, but just wear a mask. Stop comparing it to a muzzle. But I get why people have that, so I'm not going to demonise those people, do you know what I mean? Because just look at what's happened throughout history. I just think fundamentally our government has handled this absolutely terribly. And I'll say it, if Labour were in the same situation, we'd be in the same situation now. It would have just been handled just as stupidly. But yeah, I think this sort of stuff is starting to get to me a little bit more. It's sort of taken me back to when these things first came into place, but I do think things like this are necessary. I just wish they were implemented in such a better way. And I think those who have been affected, when it comes to like business owners and that sort of stuff, I don't think they're getting anywhere near as much financial support as they should be. And I do wholeheartedly believe that our government is punishing primarily Labour areas with some of the restrictions and things that they put in place in the past. But I think a general sort of lockdown throughout the board, it is necessary. Schools should definitely be closed. I think that's a really good thing. But then again, you're putting teachers out of work if they aren't able to provide remote learning for children. It puts a burden on families who for the most part probably aren't able to work. So there's no clear-cut answers, and I don't believe people should be saying, this is what you should do. You should do this, 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 and this. It's a bit more nuanced than that. But, yeah, I think that it's been a really negative video. I do apologise. But the overriding message for this video is just try and be as positive as you can. And if you're hurting right now, there are people, there are organisations, there are things in place for you to get some form of support. And as I said, if anybody, I mean, why me? Why would you want to confide in an idiot, bloated oaf like me? But if you do, then get in touch. thecluelessdrinker@gmail.com. I'm not sure if you can private message on YouTube anymore. You can get me on Instagram. It's The Clueless Drinker. If I'm back on Facebook, I might decide to take an extended break from Facebook. But you can always get me on there. I mean, you can get me on Messenger on Facebook, or yeah, just if you want to reach out, reach out. Anyway, don't know what I've achieved with this video. I just felt like I needed to make one, get it off my chest. And yeah, just look after yourselves, cherish the ones you love, and just fundamentally stay safe. And because if you don't, my subscriber count goes down. Anyway, yeah, inappropriate humour. What a wonderful thing. Anyway, see you all later. I actually need to get a shower and ready to go to work. So, I'll cut this short and I'll see what this looks like when it's uploaded. Anyway, see you later folks, take care, love you all, and I'll see you later.